Hey guys, in this video we're going to go over a sort of prototype build that I've been working on for the Witchhunter Galvanic Shards build, but I guess it's not really specific for this. You can do this same setup on any Ascendancy, but I do think that the Witchhunter actually does this probably the best, or one of the best. Okay, so what is this? So it's sort of like a defensive build we're going to be trying to make here, using the Cloak of Flame to convert physical damage to fire. And then after that, we're going to be reducing the physical damage that gets converted to fire by our armor with the heatproofing node. And then since the physical damage is being taken as fire, so it's now elemental damage, our sorcery ward can now start absorbing hits from physical damage. This also does have the added benefit of making our armor pretty much like giving a double or triple value almost, because the incoming hits are actually quite a lot smaller. We take one big hit and then that gets split in half basically because of the damage taken as fire and other elemental damage conversion we have over here on the tree. I mean, it's only 5%, but yeah, so basically close to about 55% you could probably get up to. I think I'm at like a little bit less, but let's just keep things simple, just say 55%. So we take a big physical hit that gets cut in, let's just say it gets cut in half. So basically our armor is then way more effective at dealing with that smaller hit, right, that comes through to our armor directly. And as for the damage that gets converted to fire, well, that's then reduced by our fire resistance. Right now kind of low, but this will probably be at 90% max res once we have everything set up properly. This character is still like in the prototype development type stage, but I thought I'd share it with you guys anyways. Okay, so it gets reduced by fire resistance, and then after that, that very small number is then reduced by our armor again. And since, you know, it's a very small, ends up being a smaller hit, our armor can reduce it way more effectively. Okay, and then the final damage is then being taken away from our sorcery ward. So you can see we actually end up taking very little damage from physical hits. Also, I guess, yeah, this character is quite, I mean, sort of decently tanky to the other elemental types like cold and lightning due to having the sorcery ward itself, but I guess also we will be building into max res and probably have maybe 85 to even 90 on higher budget builds for cold and lightning. I guess the main weakness is going to be chaos damage. Okay, but in order to set this up, it's actually very simple, and pretty much all you really need is a decent amount of armor, because when we take the sorcery ward, you can see it is giving us 50% less evasion and armor, so that means, you know, we're not going to have a lot of armor, so we do have to have quite a good amount before we actually start doing this. On top of that, wearing this body armor, the chest armor slot is probably like your biggest source of armor besides your glove slot. A little bit more on that later. But I mean, you can also get a lot of armor on a helmet. Like, see, my helmet has close to 1,400 armor just on the helmet. This is like pretty much like body armor levels of armor, but yeah, you can see you can get pretty nutty armor values on some items. But yeah, it did take quite a lot of gear to get this character to actually work. I did try it earlier on in like day 2 and that kind of stuff. I wanted to try this from like as soon as I was seeing this like node on the passive tree with the heat proofing, it's like, oh my god, it's gonna be pretty insane with the Cloak of Flame, reduce, you know, do all this conversion and reduce tons of damage. But initial tests with it were pretty bad because at the time I only had like 1k armor after putting on the Cloak of Flame, so it didn't work out that well. But now that we actually do have a decent amount, I can definitely say it is way tankier than just running a pure armor base. Okay, so like you can see, if we take the Cloak of Flame off, like obviously we are missing quite a bit of armor just from, you know, having an armor slot, but he is actually doing quite a lot of damage to us, you can see. But as soon as we put on the Cloak of Flame, all of a sudden he's just pretty much doing 0 damage, and our tiny bit of health regen can actually just pretty much out heal any kind of damage this guy is doing. And also a quick note, you don't need to pass all the way down to heat proofing. Like if you're on the top side of the tree, let's say you're playing like a witch, you can just anoint this on your amulet, right, if you have the currency for it. So pretty accessible to do, but I do think Witchhunter does do it best because of the sorcery ward, and then sorcery ward being able to actually absorb physical damage as well, and then it will also scale from the amount of armor we have. So the more armor we get, the more damage reduction we get, and then also the bigger our shield gets. So I think Witchhunter definitely does have the best synergy for this setup. Alright, so let's talk about some of the gear that we're using. There is only one important slot, guys, and that is going to be your glove slot. You want this to be a pure armor base. And it's because there is something you can do here with the leather bound gauntlets that's going to give you evasion per armor, basically 1-to-1, and then we convert it to armor with iron reflexes. Now, this node doesn't work, General's Binding. This happens after the conversion, it seems. So if I had a whole bunch of evasion and then I converted it to armor with iron reflexes, this node would do nothing because you actually have 0 evasion rating. So you're going to get nothing out of this node. It's kind of sad, but it is what it is. And that's pretty much it, right? Just make sure your gloves are a pure armor base, as high armor as you can get. The rest of your armor, you can even use hybrid armor. You could use pure evasion armor and convert it over to armor with iron reflexes. So that's okay. On your belt, you definitely want to get armor here, everywhere you can pretty much. You can get evasion on your rings and convert that to armor. You can get increased armor on your amulet. I don't have it on mine, but it's something you can do. And pretty much just get armor wherever you can. There are some nodes on the tree that we can go try to pick up and test some things out. But yeah, like I said, this is still sort of in the prototype type of stage, but it's been working out really good. So I thought I'd make the video now. So I'll be keeping you guys updated with this version of the build. This is probably the version that I'll probably keep progressing into endgame because it interests me the most. The original build that I was playing with just the, even the gloves post nerf is still fine, guys. You can play with the electrocute gloves. Those work really good. Although you will be losing a lot of armor and stuff from your glove slots. Kind of one of the main reasons why I wanted to swap out of that setup is because I wanted to use this tech over here for getting a lot of armor. Alright, so let's run this map. It's got a boss here, the Abyss map. I don't really remember what the boss is. Now this map does have increased ailment threshold, so getting our shocks on the boss might be a little bit annoying, but we'll see what happens. I'm still using the exact same bow and that kind of stuff in my old setup. So we'll see how that works out. As far as the gem setup, I think everything is the same except I did change out the shock burst round setup. I got rid of the what was it, scatter shot, because it didn't really feel like it was actually increasing my damage at all. It just felt a little bit weird. Although all this does sound like it is a DPS increase after further like testing and that kind of stuff. It doesn't really seem like it is that much. So I've gone back to using lightning infusion over here, and I now have long shot in galvanic shards instead of what I had before. Alright, hopefully the map is not too long, and hopefully there isn't a lot of chaos damage, because my chaos resistance is pretty sketchy right now. Alright, so I did lose a little bit of damage, I think, going to this setup, but yeah, I think it is kind of worth it, because, I mean, damage is something you can always pick up at any time, right? I can go get a better crossbow, I can level up my gems, I can get a 6-link, I can always go and increase my damage. But getting a nice, comfy defense is usually quite a lot harder. But yeah, just playing this version definitely does feel like way cozier. Like a lot of things that would do like chunk your HP for like 1/3 of your HP, or you know, doing like half your HP in one hit, are all of a sudden just like only doing you know, 50% less or quite a lot less damage. So you know, my recovery, even just like my little bit of HP regen, my life gain on kill, the little bit of fizz leech I have that doesn't really do anything, it seems, is actually enough to sort of keep me topped off. But I do think I want to invest a bit more into recovery. I would really like to actually get a lot of HP regen, right? So I don't have to like worry about hitting things, actually have recovery. So maybe like 500 or so HP regen would be ideal. I think maybe even more if we can. And then, yeah, once you get that much regen, then you just have to reduce the damage, and it's going to feel really good, I think. I don't even know if we can get that much, but, you know, one can dream, right? Alright, there's some monkey over here. I think this monkey does do a lot of his damage. Let's go out of this poison cloud and see what happens when he is hitting us. He does have breaks armor, so that's actually not all that good. But, yeah, let's see if he does his slam ability. And maybe, well, now we're shocked. So we actually can still take quite a bit of damage. And this armor break is actually really annoying, huh? But I think even if we do get our armor fully broken, maybe not with shock, right? But even if your armor is fully broken, you still are going to be getting the extra sort of damage reduction from removing some of the fizz damage to elemental, and then also your bubble is going to like absorb some of it. So even when you do get fully armor broken, it's not like you just lost all of your defense, right? You still have different layers that are going to be protecting you. Okay, hopefully the main boss doesn't give us any problems. What is the boss? And obviously, like, you do want to sort of... well, this guy doesn't really do that much fizz damage, though, I think. Or we should put our totem so we get the rage. And start attacking. I don't know if that actually hit me or not. But you can see our single target is actually still pretty decent, right? We can reload here. Alright, pretty easy. Hey, we got T15. Sweet. So, yeah. Way comfier to play this setup. And once I do have it set up properly, we'll go do some, like, limit testing and that kind of stuff like we did back with the Transcendence build. I don't think it's going to be as tanky, but it definitely is tankier than just relying on pure evasion armor or relying on pure armor and that kind of stuff. Okay, well, that'll be it for this video, guys. Anyways, thanks for watching, and see you next time.